Good afternoon on this rainy Saturday, and we're back in the shop today. I'm Jim, this is Soldier Farms, and we are going to continue our journey to build a plank dulcimer. You can still get in on the plank dulcimer challenge. Just use the hashtag and drop a comment here or on the community page under the Plank Dulcimer Challenge post and get in on it. Have until January 30th to submit your entry, and we have some decent prizes lined up, and we would love to have you. So anyway, getting back into this, I am going to lower and tilt the tripod here so that you can see what's going on. I think that is way more interesting than listening to me talk anyway. But we made our tuning pegs, and we have our floating bridge. Well, it will be floating. That way we can tune the instrument. And I've already glued in place the fretboard and the nut. And now I have to enlarge these peg holes to 3/8 of an inch. And I'll do that, and then we'll get right back to the assembly. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and clamp down the workpiece and get my drill and go ahead and make sure that I'm fastened down good, and then get my drill here. Still has our 1/4 inch bit, and get my painter's tape. Now, I don't expect a lot of tear out for this because it is already drilled, but you never know. Let me see if I have a 3/8 bit in here. I may not. I may have to go to the other case. Nope. That one doesn't have it. This one probably doesn't either. Because these are mostly just quick change bits. This is just 3/16. It didn't even go all the way up to a 1/4 inch. Alright, so let me grab my other drill case. What I've done over the years is collected the odds and ends of everyone else. There we go. And 9/32, 5/16, 3/8. And if this goes well, we'll be done in a minute. And alrighty. So let's see, do we fit? And yes, we do. We fit just fine. That one is a little bit snug, but we'll twist him in and he'll be just fine. Alright, so there we are. And now we will pull them out and get ready to drill them. And our largest string is going to be 0.024, which so our tiniest little drill bit is going to be just the ticket for that string. It wouldn't be big enough for a guitar string, but it'll be big enough for the bass string on this Dulcimer. So while we're just right here, let's just get that done. And that's 1/16. And that is just fine. Now, I'll get some painter's tape. My plan, of course, is not to tear out and not to make a mess. Because, after all, we spent all this time making these pegs. We are not going to make a mess of them in the preparation. I think we'll angle you up a little bit. There. That way you're not looking at your shoes. Was fellow my wife used to work with was an accountant. He was kind of an old timer, and he says one day, "Do you know how you know an extroverted accountant?" And my wife says, "Why, no. How do you know an extroverted accountant?" And he said, "He looks at your shoes." All right. Maybe I ought to just stick to the woodworking. Though I am way funnier than I get credit for. All right, now let's put a little line and get a little punch. Let me move the drill bit box so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll set this back out of the way also. We'll get our tuning pegs right here where you can see. Alright, so roughly the center, roughly a 1/4 inch from the top. I'm going to make just a little pen mark so I can have a target to aim for. Oh, let's see here. That's a longer one. I think we're going to put him in the back. Alright. That done. I'm just going to take my center punch right here on this mark. Same here. $230. All right. So then, just take the drill, find the spot with the center punch. Alrighty. And just a little bump out that will sand off. Alright, so that was a little hard to hold down with one thumb against the weight of the drill, so I will being careful to drill straight. All right, new hands. Same deal here. Nice clean hole, and then just very little sanding to do on this side, which is what we're after. We're just me or everybody get a lot of junk text messages? And here again, we got us a nice clean hole, and just a little bit we can clean up with a piece of 120 or 150. All right. Drill bit back in its place. This one actually came out of the other set. So yep. Alright, so now we'll set the drill aside and put my pen over here for easy access, and put this bit over here with the others to get put away. Little sandy paper. Alright. Alrighty. And how's our bridge? Our bridge looks good. For what our bridge is doing great. Alright. So, now I'm going to turn I'm going to measure. I need a little ruler that is not Alright, so I have this little metal ruler. This is not necessarily the best one. It's the one I have. Let me see here. We are just about, 3/8 of an inch from the inside. Let me grab my pen. Alright, so I have my spacing for my strings, and if this is an insufficient angle of rake, then I'll use small screws to make a string tree. Think of that, if you're familiar with a Fender Stratocaster, they have a straight headstock with no rake angle. So to solve the problem of string buzzing, Leo Fender adopted a little string tree that the strings pass under between the peg and the nut, and that provides some downward angle. So, having marked, and I already have one mark here, I am going to go ahead and split the difference here, and so, let's see here. Alrighty. So now I need to decide what I'm using for a tailpiece. And it's going to be something simple. I'm just going to fish in the hardware drawer and use a little screw or a little nail that I can just put in the end here so that we can put our loops from our strings over it, and we'll just use a little square knot, and then our bridge should go right in here, like so. And that should give us our 17 3/8. Well, how about on the other side of the mark? That works. Alright. And then we will think about how we're going to finish our less than perfect little instrument here. So, I need some hardware. Yes, time to go fishing. Actually, I think the perfect article is probably in here somewhere. Alright, perfect. I'm going to take this little 1/2 inch machine screw, and if I need to, I'll probably use more of these on the headstock. And I need my tiny drill bit here. There we go. Now, I was using this one for another project. I just need to drill a little bit. Pilot hole. That's kind of where I'm at here. This is about, a little more than little more than half. So I'll just drill down to the tape and then we'll and I'll go about halfway, and I'll use this little file. My mark is here, and there's a good little indent there. So I'm just going to drill right there. Of course, it helps if you put the bit in the drill. Alrighty, so alright, so there's that. I need a Phillips screwdriver. Do I have the right Phillips screwdriver? Now, on my bridge, I need to, or on my bridge, I need to fairly well copy where I have put the indents for the strings. I do that just like I do the center punch. I look at where I want the groove to go and lay the corner of the file right beside it, and then tilt it right up. Same with the last one. I put that corner down and then right up. And then you get those 3 little indentations. And then after you get them started, if they need a little dress up, go right ahead, but I find it way easier to do it this way than to sit and try and measure and all that stuff. Mostly because sometimes your tools are just thick enough, wide enough, high enough to put you off the mark. Alright, so now we're going to need some strings. But let's talk about finishing. Now, I have it sanded fairly smooth. It needs a wipe down, but I think I'm just going to put a little, like my little treatment over there, that Old English scratch cover. I could probably wipe it down with some sanding sealer first. That would definitely clean up the appearance. Clean up when you stain pine. If you don't use a pre-stain conditioner, it really makes a mess, and your finish looks very splotchy because of the varied density of the wood and the varied sap content. And not to mention, pine is a very resinous wood, and that in certain places around the branches and things, the